Hello and welcome to Basic Arithmetic Without a Calculator. I'm Elizabeth Johnson and this is Lesson 5B, Improper Fractions and Mixed Numerals. I'd like to start out with a couple of definitions first of all. An improper fraction is a fraction that has a larger number on top than it has on the bottom. So you're probably wondering what's so improper about that. Well, as with anything else in nature, if it's larger at the top than it is on the bottom, it's a bit out of balance. And that's a signal to you that you're probably going to have to make some changes. The change is you're going to have to turn it into a mixed numeral. A mixed numeral has a whole number together with a fraction. Now, I'm going to show you what I mean by that. Here we've got these two lovely cherry pies. And I want to write them out both as a mixed numeral and as an improper fraction. Let's start with the improper fraction first. Now, we want to start with a denominator for our fraction. The denominator represents how many pieces a thing has been cut into. Now, these have both been cut into 6 pieces. So our denominator is 6. The top number represents how many pieces there are altogether, or how many we're talking about. In this case, there are 6 at the top and 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have 11 altogether. So as an improper fraction, it looks like this, 11/6. Now let's change that into a mixed numeral. A mixed numeral is a whole number with a fraction. Now how many whole pies do we have? We have 1 whole pie. So we'll write that as a 1. And now we'll write this pie as a fraction, the one that's got a piece missing. All right, well, it's still been cut into 6 pieces, so the denominator is still 6. And we're going to count up now and see how many pieces there are remaining. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 of those 6 pieces left. So you can see from this demonstration that 11/6 means the same thing as 1 and 5/6. But to actually do the maths, well, I'll show you how to do it. I've got 4 demonstrations here for you to look at. The first is the one that we just did. Now the mechanics of turning this improper fraction into a mixed numeral are simply this. Start out by dividing the bottom number up into the top number. So we want to find out basically how many 6's there are in 11. Well, the answer is there are 1. Now 1 becomes our whole number. And the remaining is the number that goes on top. So there's 1 with 5 remaining. And the denominator, well, it simply stays the same. So we've got 6. That's how we turned 11/6's into 1 and 5/6's. Now let's try a couple more and see if you can follow along with me. Here we've got 13/4 or 13/4, and we want to turn it into a mixed numeral. Remember, the first step is to divide the bottom number up into the top number. How many 4's are there in 13? Well, there are 3 in 12, which means we have 1 remaining. The remaining becomes our numerator. And the denominator, it stays the same. So the answer is 3 1/4. Let's look at this next example. You've got 17/5. Now, first step, take the bottom number and divide it up into the top number. How many 5's are in 17? Well, there are 3 in 15, so 3 is our whole number. And there are 2 remaining. The 2 goes on top, and the 5 stays the same. Okay, let's look at this 20/8. Well, how many 8's are there in 20? There are 2 in 16, so 2 is your whole number. And how many are left over? 4. Your remainder goes on top, and your denominator stays the same. But stop. I can't let this fraction go because it can be simplified. Looking at this, I can see that both the top and the bottom can be evenly divided by 4. So remember, if you can simplify a fraction, you must do it. Now, when you're simplifying a mixed numeral, remember, the whole number never gets changed. It just stays the same. The 2 is still a 2. It's the fraction we're worried about. Now, if I were to divide this 4 by 4, I would get 1. And remember, whatever you do to the top, you must do to the bottom. I'm going to divide the 8 by 4, and I'm going to get 4. This fraction is all right. I can write this on an exam, and it's in its simplest form, and I'll know I'll get the answer right. Now let's go the opposite operation. This time we're going to turn these mixed numerals into improper fractions. Here's how you do it. Start out by multiplying the denominator times the whole number. 6 times 1 is 6. Now, the next step is to take that product and add it together with your numerator. 6 plus 5 is 11. 11 is your new numerator. And as always, the denominator stays the same. 6. So let's try that again. Okay, we took 3 and we multiplied it times 9. 3 9s are 27. The next step was to add that together with your current numerator. 27 plus 1, that's 28. So 28 is our answer. What about the denominator? Simply stays the same, 28 over 3. Here's another example. I might go slow so you can work it out before I do. We've got 5. We're going to multiply it times 2, and you can end up with 10. 10 plus 4 equals 14. And the denominator? You guessed it. It stays the same. There's only one left to do now. 9 times 4. It's 36. 36 plus 2 is 38. And the denominator? It's 9. Stayed the same. So you've got some examples to work on now. Good luck with it, and I hope you build your skill and confidence. I'll see you back again in the next video.